We are live.
Good evening, everyone. Raising a differently abled child is a profound journey marked with unique challenges and inspirational triumphs. Good evening once again. I, Dr. Sita Ramamurthy Pal, Chairperson of the Genetics and Fetal Medicine Committee, Foxy, invites you all to this Gyan Pravah Podcast Series number 35, where I'm going to be taking you through an inspirational journey of success stories. Our guest speaker, who's none other than the President of Down Syndrome Federation of India, an inspirational woman by herself, Dr. Rekha Ramachandran. Welcome, madam, to this podcast, and thank you for accepting this invite. Thank you. Before I start this podcast, it's my honor and privilege to invite and introduce our own visionary and dynamic president, President Foxy, Dr. Sunita Tandulwadkar. As it is said, a leader is someone who provides vision, direction, and inspiration to guide a team towards common goals. And this completely describes our president of Foxy, Dr. Sunita Tandulwadkar, this year. Through her amazing and inspirational projects this year, she has been able to touch the lives of many women which are close and far. And one of it is such, like today being the 4th of March, the World Cervical Cancer Awareness Day. This Foxy has taken a monumental step in creating awareness through one of our key projects, Do TK Zindagi, where Madam is actually in Lucknow, at Lucknow Airport, and joining after a huge work today. Thank you, Madam, for joining despite your busy schedule. And I invite you to address this audience and give your welcome address. It's really a very encouraging thing that you've given us this opportunity. Thank you. Madam is at the airport and her, yeah. Yes. Dr. Sunita, can you hear us? She's actually at the
I
airport.
can I can hear you, but unfortunately, you people can't hear me, right?
No, we can hear you now. Thank you.
And God is great. Connected me for a fraction of seconds. So thank you so much. And Rekha ji, I'm so glad that Sita has selected the faculty of the level so that we can have so much of our interactions and good dialogue. I don't know what Sita spoke about me, but let me tell you today being 4th March, Foxy has celebrated the cervical elimination or HPV awareness program, you can say. 40 societies pan India. We are doing the project. The CMEs are going on in Lucknow. Since I have a flight in the evening, we did it in the afternoon. But the most important thing is we did a social connect with the entire Delhi Women Premier League. They spent 3 hours with us. We did come to over match. We spoke with cancer survivors. We had a common dialogue. And now they say on 15 March, we are coming to Mumbai. Can we all get vaccinated? That will be the biggest thing. Only one cricketer from Australia was vaccinated, rest were not vaccinated. So even in our own society, we are facing so much of spirituality again. I said, God, I moved entire airport. Nowhere the connection was coming. I said, I'm sitting in one place and give me connection now. And this is where the spirituality comes in. I just sat on one chair and I said, I want to be connected with Sita. Thank you so much. And I'm going to enjoy by different link the dialogue between two of you, and I'm going to have a great time waiting for my flight.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, madam, for joining despite your busy schedule and for that chair which has given you that connectivity and for your awe-inspiring and path-breaking work in the field of reproductive medicine and for women's health at large through Foxy. And of course, giving us all chairpersons this opportunity for this podcast series where we are sort of evolving ourselves as future leaders, as you say. So thank you once again for joining. and we'll start our podcast. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sunita. Thank you.
Now it is my, what do I say about Dr. Surekha or Dr. Rekha Ma, as she's popularly known as? She's a passionate mother and a dedicated professional whose life has actually revolved around supporting individuals with Down syndrome and their families. In 1984, she founded this Down Syndrome Federation of India with just 6 children. And over the years, we are going to listen to her through her unwavering commitment and tireless efforts. This organization has grown to include more than 7,000 families, where it creates a robust network of support and advocacy. Her journey has actually been driven by a singular mission of empowering parents and self-advocates, ensuring that they receive the care, guidance, and opportunities that they need to thrive. And her influence is not limited nationally, it goes beyond India's borders as well. Her contributions have been recognized both nationally and internationally. She's the president of Down Syndrome Federation of India and the Tamil Nadu chapter, and has also served as the vice president of Down Syndrome International. She's the founder and chairperson of Matru Mandir, Chennai's first dedicated center for children with Down syndrome, which provides free counseling, therapies, and vocational training tailored to each child's needs. In addition to her organizational leadership, she's a tireless advocate. Her extensive work includes organizing medical camps, launching India's first Down syndrome course for caregivers, and pioneering virtual support sessions through her voluntary organizations. She's an accomplished leader, speaker, author, and researcher. And she also organizes the India's International Down Syndrome Conference and Down Syndrome National Games, which are two annual flagship events to provide confidence and boost parents and as well as self-advocates. Through her lifetime of dedication, I think it's been more than 40 years, Dr. Rekha Ma has not only transformed the lives of thousands of families, but has set an inspiring example of what can be achieved through love, compassion, perseverance, and vision. Her legacy continues as she remains a steadfast pillar of support and is a trailblazer in the field of Down syndrome advocacy. Welcome, madam, to this podcast, and I'm really excited to have this conversation with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sita. That was an amazing introduction.
Oh, no. I think less said, I mean, you deserve much more, but, I will start with more inspiring stories from you. So we've all heard about Bubbly stories. Can you just talk to us about Bubbly and her story with you? What inspired you to start this Down Syndrome Federation of India and your journey so far? I think it has been more than 40 years that you have been in this. So just take us through your journey of.
So when we reflect on our lives, actually, there are so many incidents and so many people who come in our lives who have an impact on us. I don't know what my life would have been without Bubbly. I think the reason for my even sitting here is Bubbly. And she's been instrumental in creating the change in people's lives, not only in mine, but all over the world. And born at a time when I think was the bleakest period of the world of disabilities. 1980s, I don't even know whether people use the word Down syndrome. Bubbly was born in January, and I think it was like the happiest moment in our lives because we had a son and now we had what we wanted, a little girl in our lives, and there was celebration. And then the next day you have, the pediatricians walking in and they sort of burst your bomb by just making sort of noises and looking at your child like as if it's an alien and saying things which no mother wants to hear, that she will never be normal. Now, whether it was a shocker or whether I went into a numb phase, I don't know. But it was like, yes, they're talking about my child. And I think there's one thing I want to tell the entire medical society, that if there is one thing that a mother doesn't want to hear, especially when the child has just entered her life, is that she will not be normal, because the word normal is exaggerated. And I feel that we all call ourselves normal, but I feel that the world that I've entered is more normal than any other world that I would ever want to be in. she just was a part of me, and I just never felt anything different. I mean, people ask me, were you not shocked and all? Sita, that never entered my life. I have never been surprised by Bubbly. I have never been sort of shocked by the things that people said. I never withdrew, which might have happened to a lot of people, because it was like these pediatricians, of course, at that time, I think it was more a lack of information,
Absolutely.
or the fact that they themselves didn't know how to break the news to people, So I never hold it against them. We had to actually educate them on how we wanted to hear it. So it went around like Bubbly was the one who impacted me, and through me, so many other people who fell into our groove. And yes, if you talk about raising a child with a disability, I don't know whether the word disabled is ever there in my rule book. No, we don't call them disabled, because that itself puts them into a box.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I really did not want them calling her a moron, a waste. There were a number of people who told me that to leave her in an institution, go home and have more children. These are not things that we want to hear. I mean, you want to hear one positive line,
Absolutely.
something that says, yes, your child is here, will be here, we are here to support you. And that's what I made out was later on a 10-point program for every pediatrician, which said how I would like to hear the news of my child being different. So congratulations sounds so beautiful than saying your child will not be normal. So we tried to change that perception. It took me 20 years, by the way. So the first 20 years, 81 to 2091, 2001 was the biggest challenge, was trying to raise Bubbly at on one side with all her multiple challenges. She had bilateral cataract. She had pneumonia 3 times. She was hypothyroid. She had constipation. Those days they never had any stool softeners, so we had to take her every day for enema. So it was like a challenge on every field. At the same time, I was so positive. I said, this woman will get up and she will do. Because, Sita, if you ask me what were the challenges, it was words like, she'll never walk, she'll never talk, she'll never. So everything was never be able to do.
Negative. Yeah.
So even if one person had told me that at that time that, yes, she will get up, she will do it, it would have made a world of difference. But I think at that time, they have never seen this, because let me tell you what happened. I used to go to every house where I had heard that they had a child with Down syndrome. And the word Down syndrome was not, it was Mongol.
Yeah, true. And you were trying to get people who had their children with Down syndrome.
No, it wasn't like trying to get them. I just wanted to know what a person looked like with Down syndrome, or how did they behave. So we don't have books. We don't have your Google. We don't have any information.
That time there was no information.
Nothing, absolutely nothing to read up. The one medical journal that they showed me, the pediatrician, was a person with will have mongoloid features and will remain mentally retarded. So those were words that they read and they told us. But I was certain that all this was just a line in a book. So I went to many houses, they shut the door on me. The reason is they felt that we were invading privacy, 1. 2, it was like, oh, she's going to spread the news that we have a child who's different. 3rd, the siblings might never be married.
All right, yeah.
That was the fear in those days. So I collected all this. I said, these are things that we have to change. So, and initially nobody wanted to hold my hand. They said, no, it's difficult. It's not going to work. We're trying to deal with our own issues. So it was okay. I was not getting, sort of shaken up by the fact that there were people who did not want to. I said, it's okay. So luckily by 84, It took me 3 years to even bring 6 people into my fold.
Okay.
And those 6 people, in today, actually, all of them have passed away because they must have been 12, 14. I was picking up children at various ages. And the one thing that I was told was their lifespan was hardly 10 years. So you don't look beyond that. They won't live. They can't live. They are not expected to live. So it was that again was another thing that they were trying to put into. So naturally, the parent would have felt, why do anything if they're going to die early? So that's why the word institutional care, all these things, we have removed everything. And that took a long, long time. Yes, that was the initial 10 years that was a battle against the medical world, because first I had to clear up the image with the medical world. And if you talk to me at that time about chromosomes, no information. I don't know. I'm not a medical person. Half the people who have a child with Down syndrome will never understand.
True.
I mean, if you tell me there's an extra chromosome, I'm wondering what is a cell first. So my first question when I went into the genetic department was, can you do blood transfusion? So for us, it is all blood. And that's all we know. Okay, you can change the blood, but you can't touch. We don't know what is genes. You have to explain it to us. Today, our parents will give you a lecture on what is genetic thing, what are the chromosomes, which are the chromosomes and which chromosome, what happens with the 21st chromosome, what does the extra chromosome do? Oh my God, they are so informed, it's unbelievable. Yes, Sita.
So, so your Down Syndrome Federation has been there since '84. How are you again giving support? Like this month, I especially got to this podcast because March is 21st March is Down Syndrome Day, and the theme for this year is actually improving our support systems. So, as you were talking about the support system then, and with you as the mother of all, how do you support these families? And, just give us because there are still a lot of people struggling to get information and struggling to get that support, which they don't get from their families or, even the local community. So just take us through how.
So, Sita, when you talk about support, what does a parent need initially when the child is born? Somebody who already has a child with Down syndrome, who can sit with them and reason out. My point is, this was initially a challenge. In '84, when we created the Down Syndrome Association of Tamil Nadu, it was just us, just the 6 of us. Then I realized that just as much as we were going through this severe lack of information, other states must also be going through it. So I crossed the border and went into Kerala. Now, this was a big challenge because of language. Now, remember in India, every state has its own language. And when you impart or you share information, nothing like in your own language. So that was the biggest revelation for me, that Kerala, people want you to talk in Malayalam. So I picked up parents, I picked up support groups. I started creating support groups in every state. Just one parent I would pick up, then the other people would join hands with them. And like that, in every state now we have more than 150.
Wow.
Yeah. And once I realized it was the capitals, then we went back into the districts. So we were moving in and out for 40 years. I have traveled the length and breadth of India. That is, I have done from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, Goa, we have done Orissa, Assam, and we're now going into Shillong. So there is no part of India we have not collected people right through with either with the government hospitals, with information, with professors who came onto our, started to invite us. And with 3 parents over there, now there are 30, 40, then 50, 60. So it kept growing. So language was the basic thing that we used to motivate them to come into our fold. So in Kerala, I had a very large support group, and there was a Dr. Shaji who is also there. He still runs a very large group there, and he has started bringing in more and more people. Once you know that the leader is a person from
Yeah.
your own community, you get more, attracted to it. So yeah, so it started like that. And support, when you're talking about, which is the base of the entire program. Okay, everything is about supporting a mother as soon as the child is born, and with so much positive information that she can reach out to anybody in her area. There'll be a doctor group, there will be a therapeutic group, or online support and financial support. So the whole thing is like a package. Tell us if you don't have the money, we are here. And we raise our funds, and we are, thank God, we have credibility now, and people are ready to fund us. My family funds tremendously because Bubbly has a large foundation. So wherever we find that people need a surgery, we are whisked away to the nearest hospital, mostly to Chennai, where I house them, I keep them, and we do the surgeries here. Because somehow our people are more inviting. And our hospitals, all our hospitals are very open, very generous, and they don't frighten you. We had a case in Ranchi where the child was told, just don't even think about it. The child will die. Recently, last year. And the baby was struggling with a lot of issues with the heart. And we brought them to Chennai. Child is doing so well. I must send you the videos. And he's starting to stand up, and she's starting to blabber. So this is what we do. We find out through our support groups. And because our website is very extensive, we have people supporting them everywhere. So every state, we have large support groups. We have now gone into the districts. Like Tamil Nadu is completely covered. In other districts, like even if you look at Karnataka or Kerala, Kerala is also doing an amazing job. Some parts of like Madhya Pradesh is doing really well. Chhattisgarh, we have done a lot of camps. We have gone into it. There's no place we haven't gone inside. We push ourselves.
Great. That's so inspiring and amazing. I mean, hats off to you and your journey. So, how do you deal with the parents who, or mothers especially, who feel rejection and, who don't get that support from their family? How do you, guide them or, inspire them and give them confidence to go about this journey?
Sita, the family is something that I was very fortunate. I had a large family and a very supportive group. Of course, there was sometimes my mother-in-law saying, it's your karma and all that, which are words which were used in every part of India.
Yeah.
And when they used the word karma, I used to always turn around and say only one thing. It's everyone's karma in this family. We have done something good. We have a beautiful child. So you have to change the perception by making it sound like, yes, we are here and everything will be beautiful. I've had people, the in-laws cursing the girl and saying it's all because of you, your sins, you must have done some pap in your life and that's why the child is like this. So I always sit with the family. I don't believe in a parent counseling. I don't. I never do it. The whole family comes in, we sit together, we hold hands and say, we all need you together. So when a child is born, I am in their houses even before the doctors are. So they now, because of the website and the phone numbers, they call us immediately and say, what can we do now? So we have to go through the medical records first. And if there is no intervention necessary, then we are become your best friend. We are talking to them every day. And like I'm on my phone 24/7 and in different parts of India, trying to get them to be calm. Yes, initially there's rejection, there's fear, there's guilt, there's anger.
Yeah.
And why did it happen to me every time? Okay. I never asked myself that. Funnily, Sita, I never asked myself that. I thought I was the blessed one. Fantastic. They chose me. He must have a purpose up there. But when they feel all of these emotions, what do? You just have to tell them that I also experienced this. I went through the same pain. And one thing that is common amongst our 7,600 families is the same pain. And that never goes away. You cannot remove that pain and, the fear of society rejecting you.
Yeah.
I think that is the innermost fear. I have confidence in myself. I can raise my child. But what if nobody accepts my child the way I am accepting it? And first I start with the uh, the closest circle of family, and then we extend it towards the society. So, who is society is a very important question. So
Right.
when we found all this happening to our parents, we created a family group of all our 7,600. We are called Humsafar.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, we are now our own family. We don't need anybody else. So we created the largest society, and we said, any issues you have, bring up one of our members, they will answer your call. And so it's like we have 7,500 people, and I don't even know how many grandchildren. So it's like, because they call me Ma, the children call me Dadi, Nani, and all, and we meet once a year or wherever, at least 3 times, 4 times a year. And we try to get everyone to realize the value of this child. See, once the child starts walking, talking, all your fears are gone. Of course, everybody will ask me a million questions of what's the future. So yes, we address one thing at a time. And that's the way we've been working. So our support systems, Sita, are in place.
In place. That's so encouraging. That's really amazing. So it is instilling this confidence in these mothers to believe in themselves. And once they have that confidence, I think that will reflect on their child as well, isn't it?
But it takes time, Sita. Initially, my fear is that rejection is something that the child feels.
Yeah.
You won't believe it. More than the child with Down syndrome, it's the sibling or the other child. Invariably, when you have a child with Down syndrome, I always tell the parents, look at the other child. You're crying for yourself, but what is the pain that's going through the other child? So now we have started creating a very large sibling group.
Oh, interesting.
So we have the largest sibling group in the world, which brings together the siblings to address their issues. And my son is apparently the president.
Oh.
So, yeah. So he attends every conference and answers all their, misgivings about if I get married, what will happen to my sibling? If I have a child, or will my, person with Down syndrome be affected? So my son always answers all this from a sibling perspective. So what we have done is we start easing their lives.
Yeah.
And it makes it easier when somebody answers your questions. Who is a sibling? That's one. As far as the spouses, and today the support they're getting from their partners is amazing. In fact, in our center, I see the fathers more involved than the mothers.
Oh,
And it's such a revelation that the world has changed, and the fathers bring the children, they want to come for the picnics, they go with them trekking. It's completely a changed world. And it makes me feel so good, because my husband was running away. He was so petrified that she would die, because that was the words they used. And every time he would say, no, it's not going to work this way. It'll take away our social life. I said, which social life? She is our social life. So we take her wherever we go. And she travels and she does everything. Like, if I honestly tell you, when people tell you they won't walk, they won't talk, they don't have retentive capacity, or misnomers.
Yeah.
Not only did Bubbly walk, she did a 100-meter dash. She got the medal for, athletics. She was a gold medalist in swimming. She is a Bharatanatyam dancer, danced. There is nothing and her retentive capacity. She can remember names, people, addresses. She's the one who sends all our social greetings. She is the one who does everything for us.
They're great artists as well. I mean,
yes. See, there's no field that they have not proved themselves.
Absolutely. Like we've seen recently, there have been a lot of success stories with other Down syndrome children across the world. And I'm sure Bubbly's success stories has inspired in your family and other communities as well, isn't it?
No, but amongst my 7,600 families, all of them are doing amazingly well. And now we don't want to ape anybody from anywhere else, okay? We have our own success stories, which are rocking, absolutely rocking. And they are going into movies, they're going into theater. There's no field that they have not touched.
And as you said, their retention capacity, their memory is amazing. They can.
Amazing. We were told they will never be able to remember their names. I mean, forget it. They remember much more than that. In fact, whenever we talk about our families, everybody's thing is that the children know more than they do. So this is what I say. Don't use words which don't describe a person. Like they won't be normal is a very harsh word. And unless you know how to describe normal, which half the doctors don't know. So I always say, just play it down a little bit. We will work on the rest because there's so much to work on and so much to support the family that it's been a beautiful 40 years journey.
Amazing. How has the experience been abroad compared to India? When you have been traveling abroad as well, isn't it? For when you compare the support system.
Well, if you ask our Indian society abroad, they will say we prefer to come home because you don't get that emotional support. Don't forget one thing. Whether you are anywhere in the world, it's your family. If your family is supportive, you want to go back there. And that's what they say. Through force of circumstances, we are here. And of course, we are enjoying what they give us, but there's nothing like family. And that's one thing they all miss. Because whatever you said and done, nothing like your own language, your religion, your customs, it's whatever it is. It's beautiful when we are in here and we celebrate everything in such a grand way with your families. So that's the one thing they miss. Of course, there is this misgiving that if you go abroad, it's smooth. Sorry. The waiting lines in the medical world is pretty long.
Pretty long. Yes, absolutely. I completely agree with you on that. We are very privileged that way to be in India to get the best of the medical profession here and the support system, which you also said with our families around.
And one more thing, that the medical world has become so encouraging. So encouraging. You see, wherever our children are, they get first preference. Everybody is waiting. They really, really want to learn through us because when we have conferences in any state, we bring in all the medical people in that state and our people from Chennai, we travel with them as a team. In every field, we have our doctors under Dr. Suresh. So we have a large team of optometrists, whether it is, endocrinologists, because we have very few knowledgeable doctors on the subject. So especially optometry, we have an amazing doctor. We have everybody who is in either, whether it's a bone specialist or whether we need in every field, ENT, dentist. So we have created that group now who travels with us. They travel and they sort of educate the existing doctors in that state.
Oh,
we tie up with hospitals. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, how about looking after yourself? What do you do for your, in your free time or, for your mental well-being? Because you're so positive and encouraging.
I don't have free time, Sita. That's what I like. I don't want that free time because every time you talk to a parent, I talk to a parent and I can see that pain ebbing away. That's the motivation. Yeah, that makes me get on a high. And that I think that's kept me, because we are very highly spiritual. We realize that you give back what was given to you. Absolutely. And I believe that the best thing that happened in my life was my daughter. And she came into my life to make changes. And she taught me all the good things about being a person with Down syndrome. If you say there's one negative, I will not agree with it. There's nothing negative. It's all so beautiful because they keep our families together. They keep us constantly on my toes. She's the one who actually creates every program in our family. So,
yeah. So there is, for one negative, you can see, well, rather no negatives, you can see 10 positives with
exactly.
Yeah.
It's a different world, but you have to experience that. It's like, if you can't experience winter or snow till you actually see it. And that's what I always say. You have to feel it on your skin. You have to feel it in your breathing, that this is a beautiful person who has, and they blossom only because the mother is smiling. And that's the crux of my entire program. A mother who smiles keep the family together.
Absolutely.
You cry for some time. I'm not saying you should cry with me, but not with your family. Because the family only wants to see when the husband comes home or the children come home, they want to see a happy mother.
Very true. Yeah. But I think, as you said, spirituality binds us together, and I think God has actually sent Bubbly with a purpose for you to get this forward and take it ahead.
Absolutely. She came in with a purpose because she would smile through everything, especially when a radiologist picked her up as just flesh and dropped her on a steel plate because he wanted to take the x-rays of the chest. And it was not as if she was crying, but there was a tear because it was a cold sheet. And we didn't have Pampers in those days. And she looked at me like saying, teach him a lesson. And honestly, I looked at the radiologist. He said, she'll die by the time you get home. I said, looks like you're creating the death by even putting her on the table. So please give her back to me. I know what my child needs. You don't need to give me that x-ray. And there was so much negativity around us, but both of us would come back. And we worked on ourselves. We said, we will get there. And she said, Mom, just give me the time. I need to prove to this world that we are not going. And they are not playing God. But honestly, for a layperson to understand so much medical jargon is tough. It's very tough because I went all over the world. I went to Spain to study just what trisomy 21 was. And when they gave the award to a person who had a molecular study and she had created a mouse that had been converted into I don't even know, trisomy 21 something. I said, I produced a child with trisomy 21. No one's giving me an award. And the genetic department over there went into a tizzy and said, she's a very strong Indian woman. So I said, I am definitely strong. But these are things that I learned over a period of time. What is trisomy 21? It's only a condition. It's not a disease. You can't cure it. We got to live with it. But you need to tweak it a little bit. So we've been tweaking it and we've been working on all the organs which might be affected.
True. So what misconceptions do you think about raising such children? You would think that the people understood better. I mean, if you,
the first misconception that I can see is that they will not be able to do anything. We've proved that they can do everything. But you got to challenge me. My point is, if a parent decides for themselves, my child will never do it, the child will never do it. You think for yourself, Sita, if your parents hadn't educated you, or they had already written down in a book that she's not capable of this, will you ever do it? So it's about a parental attitude on how you bring in an attitude towards your child saying, I believe in you. You can do it.
Absolutely. That goes not only for any, for any child for that matter.
That's what I'm saying, Sita. If your parents hadn't given you the opportunity, it is an opportunity, it is direction. Yes. Now you're talking about them acting in movies. As a parent, it is my duty to decide whether I want to put them in school or I don't want to. Do I want to put them into special schools? What is it that I want to do for my child? So you hold the child's hand and you lead them through life in a very positive direction. They'll do everything. There is not a single area that we have found that they can lag behind. And this is what I want to tell the world, that our children do it willingly, happily, and are very successful. But if you don't believe in me, they won't do it. They want that belief. So, let me talk about schools. Yeah. Now, that was a very big thing for us. It was a challenge. And Bubbly they told me to put Bubbly in the blind school because she had cataract and she had multiple issues with her vision. But I said, no, that doesn't mean she can't hear. So she will come into school. So I fought the system. I'm talking about 83.
Yeah, I can imagine then.
And they were literally trying to drive us out. by saying that she has this and she's got, certain characteristics of behavior. She was the simplest child in the world. She would get on with everybody, but the other children were trying to take away her glasses, which is her strength. So, you got to explain to the schools, talk to them, reason with them, make friends with the teachers. And that's what I tell the parents. Don't keep on standing outside and say, they're telling me that my child has to leave. No, they haven't understood. So we now have a system where we explain to schools that yes, they are children with Down syndrome. Yes, they will be slower than the others, but they want to learn and they want to be with the peers. So it doesn't matter that they learn what the others are learning at the pace that they're learning, but they can. And taught in a different way. So we are now supposed to have not only the Right of Education Act, we also supposed to have special educators in schools. Now that is being denied to us. That's my next battle.
Right. Give them their space, their time, to get them. Absolutely, that is important.
Wait. It's a waiting game.
Yeah, and be patient with them.
Yeah. I don't want them being locked up anywhere. No, we don't want them being locked up anywhere. We don't want them to think they're different. And they really love people. They love people. They love being with company. They love showing off. They love to talk. They love to, in their own little way. It's a question of your having the patience and give them a chance. Now, if you've never wanted even one child in your school who's different, then you're not running an inclusive. No, don't call yourself inclusive. I would close it down. Now, I'm a very strong person when it comes to talking about inclusion, because that's my battle. You want inclusion, but you don't want to include us. But you want to tell everybody I'm giving them space without understanding the subject.
So, Rekha, in the last 40 years, do you think things have actually changed? I mean, it is improving, as you know, with your support system, but in the schools and colleges or workplaces for that matter, would you like
to... Sita, change doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. And what has happened in the past 40 years has been a big, huge change. Okay. Now, when we take our children out, people don't glare. They want to come. They definitely want to, interact with your child, as long as the child is well behaved. Now, this is my entire thing. If there's no discipline at home, there's never discipline anywhere. And whether it's a child with Down syndrome or any child, discipline is important. And that's my rule. Most important thing is things are changing.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that the next 10 years, we will see everyone wanting our children rather than us going there. And that's going to happen. I know for a fact that that's the way things will change. Unless you include us, you're not breaking down the barriers. And it will happen. I mean, what happened in 40 years was slowly bringing in the medical world, bringing in schools. Now you will see people in society also changing. See, don't forget, there's always this fear of something that I don't know. I don't know anything. I don't want to read about cancer because I don't have cancer. All right. Absolutely. But my point is, if we create big noises, that's the way we are doing it, there will be. Awareness has to come in. And if we don't do the awareness, then we are not changing. Yes. So we will keep banging on the doors, and we expect also your team to work very hard on this.
Absolutely. We are, Foxy is working towards public awareness and bringing this aspect into the forefront where we can support organizations, especially like yours, which is doing real amazing work, I must say. So, what is your vision for the future with this Down Syndrome Federation of India? How do you see, I have heard about you going to this Humsafar you are talking about. Tell us more about this, because that sounds very interesting and
you
exciting.
must join us. So Humsafar is a family, and I don't allow them to think of us as, we know everyone in our family, okay? So if somebody, now because we have some 35 WhatsApp groups, and everybody knows everyone by now. So we make certain that if the newborn baby is born, news of it spreads to every other group also. So we have to celebrate. And what we are, our vision is that we grow, like bring the whole of India into our fold, so that any issues, anything, you are struggling with certain things like the future of my child. Now, the biggest fear that parents have is after me what?
Mhm.
That is why I created the Humsafar, because you can find like-minded people, your same age groups. Many of our children are actually finding partners after this happened. And one of them even got married and they are living very happily in Dubai. And this is what we're encouraging. Please find your partners, make them go out. They can even just be, friends, but it's important for that relationship. And in certain parts of India, we are telling them to create smaller groups, community groups where they can live together, like 4 families to get together, and so that we don't have these hundreds of families, which I totally dislike, where again it becomes an institutional care.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back in time, and I want to look at the future where you have 3-4 families together with house mothers and in the same language, the same food. Now, I can't bring somebody from the north and give them idli dosa every day. The Gujaratis will kill me. So I have to look at the food first. India is a food country, okay? So I have to look at everybody, but I tell them, create your communities now. Community doesn't come like that. You have to create it. So who is my family? Four members come together and create that. So we are calling them into a small communal groups where it will be in your own state, in your own street. So we're not locked up, and you have that the hospital care. This is a very big plan that I have, where I'm trying to tie up families.
It's amazing, really. Actually, this podcast is not only seen by medical professionals, it's also going to be, on YouTube and to all the general mothers and the families around. So what would your advice be to, your words of wisdom for such mothers or any
I have
mother?
only one piece of advice. This is a child. It's not your project. Don't make it into a project and say, I achieved. A child is a child. Some might not achieve as much as the others do, just like anybody else's children. I mean, if somebody has to come 100th in the class, it doesn't really matter. To me, it never mattered that my children were not going to school or they were achieving their potential.
Yeah.
Now, find the potential, treat your child with a lot of respect. One thing I have seen, Sita, the child knows what the parents are going through. And when a parent is in dismay, in crying and feeling sort of helpless, the child is even more helpless. Because the child doesn't know how to make the mama happy. For you have to see this whenever a child does anything, a painting or anything, they want the mother to say, very nice. And the next thing the child will say is, happy mama?
Yeah, so true.
This is what you should never take away. Just because somebody said your child will not be what the others are. What is the example the others have set? You don't have to worry about it. Your child is yours. Now, if I am born into a big family, and that's what somebody said, oh, rich. I said, no. It doesn't choose the rich and the poor. It chooses people. And people with Down syndrome choose the right family to come into, because they know they will get that love and affection. And this is what I tell the families. Wait. It's a waiting game. This child will surprise you so much. I never knew Bubbly would ever be such a successful woman. The other day, I'll just give you a small example, Sita. We went to have an awareness campaign in the dental hospital. And she insists on dancing everywhere. So it's her passion. They didn't have the lift working that day, 3 flights. So I said, Bubbly, do you really want to do it? Because she has had a ligament tear on her knee. I said, this might strain that. She said, just keep quiet. And my daughter's just like me. So she said, clap. And she walked up the 3 flights, sat down, waited, and said, now I'm ready. Start the dance. And she gives the solo dances. But this is recently. And I was just stunned. I said, look at their drive, their need to be seen. Don't lock them up. They want to be in the open. They want to be there showing off. It is like any of us. We like it when people clap for us. And can you imagine what it meant that day for her to be up there on that stage and say, I did it? The self-confidence that comes for your children doesn't come by your achievements. It comes when you tell them, you can try, you will do it. Just keep telling them you can do it. That word can should never go out of your dictionary, because they want you to say, we will do it. And even when they're very, very sick, hold their hand, and it's beautiful how quickly they bounce back. But it's a very different world, Sita. It's a very different world, because there's pain, there's hurt, there's anger. But there's still that child sitting in front of you, and you have to wake up the next day. You have to nurse it. You have to feed it. So it's so.
And that one smile just takes away all that.
Absolutely. So, sometimes like Bubbly used to be like jelly in my hand because of the floppiness and the hypotonia. I never knew all this. I never knew what was hypotonia. I mean, we don't have books, man. Come on. I mean, we don't have anything to look back on and talk to. I just thought, okay, this is the way she is. And we used to be so happy with that body of hers. And slowly it started, like I say, if you there's a flower and you're going to water that flower, you have to water it with happiness.
And love and compassion.
And yes, just be happy. The flower is looking at you and saying, she's smiling. And that's how the babies are. They just want a happy mother. And that's my message to the universe. Yes, of course, the fathers matter, but the fathers get very annoyed with me. But the fact is that the world revolves and the axis of a family is the mother.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And any suggestions for the medical profession?
Yeah, very important. Be encouraging, be polite, be gentle, and wait to hear our story.
So sweet. With that note, I really am so inspired and awed by your inspirational journey, Rekha Ma. I think you've done amazing for all the children. I mean, everyone considers you their mother, and the mothers also find so much support and confidence by talking to you. I think you have a great journey ahead as well. And we will definitely, look forward to liaising with you, because we are coming up, as I said, this year, the theme is support systems, and a lot of states we don't have as such. So we would, be looking forward for that. But thank you once again for joining this podcast with your...
Thank you so much.
To Bubbly as well, and your entire family.
Thank you, Sita. Thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity. God bless you. God bless.
Bye-bye.
Bye.